Hello and welcome back to day 3 of Big Bear Automations. Welcome back to the channel. If you're not familiar with what we're doing here, we are learning n8n in 365 days in a year. We are going step by step from beginner all the way to advanced. I have got 10 years of experience in development and workflows and back-end, front-end deployments, etc. But I'm stripping away all of that and starting again, and we are going through it step by step with the power of AI that's going to teach us what we need to do for n8n. We're looking at the mentality, the foundational level, we're going through it, solutionizing, etc., all the way through to advanced. At the end, we'll get a suite of workflows that we can refer back to, and hopefully the right mentality to solutionize in any tool, not just in n8n. So if you haven't, go back to day 1 and look through it. If you've done day 1, please do day 2. That's the self-hosting solution that we're going to be looking at now. Today is going to be all about just looking over the n8n canvas, what we can do, not even in the workflow side at the moment. We're just going to look at what's in there and what we can do at a self-hosting level. So let's have a look. Day 3, we are going to explore the canvas, how to move around, zoom and drag nodes. So at the moment, we should look like this. So you should have had your deployment. You should click your link. You should be able to log in, and you should be at this screen here. We are going to have a look over, before we even create a workflow, what we can do in here at a self-hosted level. So we've got overview. We'll have our workflow. So whenever we create a workflow, it will show up here. We've got our credentials, so whenever we add credentials, they'll show up here, and then the executions will come up in here as well, and we can filter on whatever workflow we've worked on, any statuses, etc. that fall through, but we can have a look at this when we've actually got workflows that are running. We have these prod executions, failed, failure rate, time saved, run time average, but again, not part of the self-hosted. We need to upgrade to access more detailed. If you try and upgrade, then you just get taken to the cloud solution, and you need to sign up to the cloud. But we're going to do self-hosted for now because it's cheaper, easier, and better to learn. So personal, which is again same concept as overview. You just have your workflows in here, shared with you. Again, these are ones that are going to be shared. I don't think we can share on self-hosted, or I haven't been able to before, so this is new, so we could teach this. We can have a look at this and see whether we can do anything with it. On the left hand side, then we've got templates. Again, very good place to start. So if you know that you need something simple like Gmail automation, you can have a look at what other people have posted, what the community is talking about. Very good tool. So you can search through here, start getting the template, generate logos, for example, and images for consistent Visual Studio using visual styles using Imagen 3.0. Gives you an outline, gives you a boost of what's going on, and you can just accept and put it into your workflow and work from there, add your credentials. Again, we're not going to do much of the template stuff. We're going to start from scratch. We're going to learn how to do it. But if you knew what you wanted, you can come in here and see what other people have been doing. It's a very good resource to just at least have a feel for the sort of things you can do. And if you want to copy, you can. Again, I'm not going to copy. We're going to build it out. Again, variables need enterprise, so we're not affected by that. Insights, again, need cloud, so we're not affected by that. Help, we've got quick start, documentation, the forum, any courses, report any bugs that you can see, and about n8n. So let's go to quick start. Nice advert for whoever this is. We'll skip this. And n8n gives you a nice 4-minute overview for you to go and have a look on what basically I'm showing you. So you might be worth going to have a look at this, but we're going to do it together anyway. And documentation, again, very underutilized tool. If you're looking for anything n8n, then just come to the n8n docs. There's a lot of stuff in here that can help you. And if that don't, then go to the community, because again, full of people that are trying to do the same sort of things that you are, trying to learn the same sort of things that you are, and very open and happy bunch to get involved in. So again, look in here, search what you need, search what you need. We'll be using these tools. I'll add these links to this video, but you should have them in the left hand side anyway, but we'll go through that. Courses, again, you can do your courses if you want to, but we're gonna learn step by step all the way through anyway, so you might be something that you want to come back to in the end. Report a bug is as it suggests, you get sent over here to report a bug, and then about n8n is just what version you're running, where the source code comes from, the licensing, the instance ID, and then any information that you need from the debug. But again, probably won't need much about that. The only thing you need to care about really is this: if something was to come up where it wasn't working on a version and you need to go back to a version that it was, so it might be worth noting this down if you had a working version. But again, nothing we need to worry about right now. So we are going to follow what it's telling me to do, and that's explore the canvas and how to move around. We're going to create a workflow. Now, let's call this our first workflow. Successfully created, cool. Add a tag. I always like to tag things, especially on self-hosted, because we don't get projects. So if we tag it, we can filter. So it's kind of like projects, but as a tag instead. So I'm going to call this learn n8n in year 3. No, let's just call it that. That'll do. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a blank canvas with, you'll see a plus sign that says add our first step. We're not going to do that just yet. What we are going to do is learn how to zoom around. So scroll up on your mouse, you go up, scroll down on your mouse, you go down. Click your mouse in, you get your nice pan, control, zoom out, control, zoom in, and you zoom in and zoom out, zoom in and zoom out. So really you want that one, zoom in, zoom out, that one. That's all you need, really. Here, you got zoom to fit, so it fits everything to your screen. I do not very good with shortcuts, to be honest, but if you just click down here, that seems to work. If you want to use your manual, here you go, but I'll use the roller. You can go back to what you want before. This one is your tidy up. So basically, if you've got loads of nodes and they're all over the place, you click that and it all goes back into sync and looks tidy, unless you've got some mad logic that throws it all off and then you have to manually do it anyway. But most of the time, this seems to work perfectly fine. Okay, you've got these two drop downs here. Editor is your canvas where we're editing. The executions is the things that have been running through your workflow, so you can see it will come up saying success or failure, and you can go and click it and pin that information to your workflow. We'll look at that when we've got something up and running. We've got a few options at the top: rename, tag, active or inactive. So if you want it to be active in terms of it's on, and if there's a webhook, for example, it will be available to be hit at all times. It's only active, and it will be sitting there waiting for it to be triggered. Another one is share. Again, we can't do that, so I was right. You can't share on our self-hosted version. You can on the commercial cloud version, so it might be something that you do have access to. If you do, it is worth collaborating as a team, and if you go into production as a team or an agency or something like that, it's probably worth getting. Again, we are just testing, we are just messing around, we are just learning, so self-hosted is perfectly fine for us. Workflow history. So this is what has happened before, which at the moment is nothing because we haven't actually done anything, but this is what you'll see, the versions of saved history. We'll come and have a look at this when we've got actually something to look at. Again, the three dots give you the duplicate, the download, the rename, You can import from a URL, so import all the stuff from another workflow, import from a file, again, download of a JSON file, and the settings. Execution order, we just leave as recommended. Error workflow, so if it was to fail, and something that I've done before is that you can trigger another workflow. I, for example, trigger an email to myself to say that it's failed, just because I like the fact that it comes through my email and I can pass the data that I need, and it's all in my email, so I've got it on hand. Again, we can look at that, but that's just your error flow. Time zone, put whatever time zone you're in. So for me, I will be London time, I think. Yeah, London time. Save fail production executions, yes. Save fail successful production executions, yes. Save manual executions, yes. Save execution, so you can save it or don't default to save, just keep it as saved. Timeout workflow, so if it was to time out, so spend a lot of time doing something, and you want it to go somewhere, you either can handle the timeout, or you can add in what you expect the timeout for it. So if you think it's going to take, shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to run it, and if it does time it out, then you can add in it manually here. We're just going to leave it default for now. Estimated time saved, interesting. So this is minutes per production execution. So this is for us to say, we've made a workflow and normally it takes me 10 hours or 10 minutes to do this task. This has saved me 10 minutes every time it runs. So when it runs, it tells you and starts calculating your insights of, oh, I've saved 60 minutes this week. So it's been worth the $7 a month that I've done. We're not going to mess with any of that right now. If we need to, we'll come back to it. Okay, so we can pan around, we can zoom in and out, we can straighten ourselves up, we can go back to normal view, to centralized view. We can see our executions and we can see our editor. We know how to make it inactive and active. We know how to go back on our workflow history, so our version control, and we know how to tag up and rename. That's the main things you need to worry about. Okay, so we are going to add a node and see what we get. So we can add our first step. Now, the first step will be a trigger, and as a trigger suggests, it's a step that will start your workflow. So trigger manually and other triggers. We're just going to do trigger manually for now, but we are going to do a session on triggers, which I think is about day 4 or 5, maybe day 5. But we will be doing a session on triggers and we will be doing a session on the other stuff, but this is just a visualization on what you'll get. So you click test workflow because this is a manual. So when clicking test workflow, it will trigger the automation. So for testing purposes, more than anything, and it will just trigger. So we've triggered. We've got an output, which is nothing. We've got a schema, which is nothing. It's just saying that it's been executed and that it has run successfully. So here we would see what outputs we get from the various different nodes that we will be using, and that is what then we can use to pass to the next node or to store in a variable to ready for the next node, etc., etc. So what does that mean then? So in our executions now, we'll now start seeing things like something has succeeded. Well, that's interesting. What has? This is the information that's been hit. When clicking, do this, copy to the editor, which means that we can then start looking at the data that's passed through the workflow, which will make more sense when there's more nodes, which we'll be getting into, but we're just starting to see what we can do. So now that we've got a node, we can start dragging this around. If you left click on it, you can move it around. If you want to test it again, you can test workflow and you can start moving it around and doing what you need to do. You can make it active or inactive. You can deactivate, which is what we've just done, deactivated it. we can delete it, we can test it, we can open it. So if we open it up, again, we'll see what we've done. If we unpin it, we'll unpin it so it's not pinned anymore. And if we want to delete it, we can delete it. So let's add that node in again. And what we're going to do is just do a very simple passing of code. Let's just do this. So here's a code node, and we're going to drag it, and we accidentally drag it all the way over here. Oh no, it looks really silly. Use my mop-up. It makes it look pretty again, or easier to understand. So now that we've got more things in our workflow, we're going to save it, which is in the top right. And then we can start seeing the difference in saves. So our last save was here, which was nothing. Our latest save is here. We can go back, restore this version, clone the new version, etc. So this is where you get your version control. Now, if you were to test this workflow, it tests both, so it runs through. You can go to execution, you see that it succeeded, perfect. Okay, so what happened? On the left-hand side, you've got all of the workflows, all of the nodes before your node that you're currently clicked into or looking at. So this is the code node. Before that, we've got nothing, which is this, and then we've got our variable context, which is the workflow. This is the workflow information, basically, like the stuff that's the timestamp of when it was ran and stuff like that. So nothing we need to worry about unless you purposely need like the name of our workflow, or whether it's the information that if it's active or not. What happened in the execution, resume URLs, right? Execution doesn't matter, workflow doesn't matter. What time it was, you might need that as a timestamp of when the workflow was activated. So this could be useful. But other than that, we don't need to worry. Again, schema means that we can, it turns it into this nice format where you can just drag and drop things that you need. So if you wanted the now, you could just get it, which is cool. If you wanted the today, you could just get it, which I really like. And you can drag that into the various different nodes so that we can start using it, that information if we need to. So for this piece of code, which is the example code that's given to you when you put the code node in, all it does is loop over every input items and adds a new field called my new item to the JSON for each one. So in this one, item JSON my new field equals 1, just does it once, my new field equals 1 equals 1. And that's all it does, and outputs that. So this then, if we wanted to use that output, we could add in another node, which we're going to do the code node again, because we're going to go through all of this and learn what they all do. But if we wanted to use that code node before, which is this one, we could then drag in this and it will give you that information from the last node, which is really cool. So you can imagine that if this code was creating a variable from an array that is something that you needed, like a name of a person, you then needed that name, you could use that name then to use on an email address, etc., and start building out your nodes. Again, a bit more advanced, but we're not going into that. We're just looking at how we can move around, what we can do, what we can test. So if you wanted to move these around, you can do. They're all connected. You can delete connections. So you're like, actually, no, I want this one connected here, and I want this one connected here. You could move it around and change the flow. Again, it would affect what's connected, what data is being passed and what you need to pass to the other one, etc. But you get the gist, you can move it around. If you wanted to select all, you can do that. Hit delete on your keyboard, it will delete it. If you hit Control Z, it will bring it all back. Again, let's mop it up, make it look clear. If you wanted something in between these, you can add them in. So actually, I want a date time, add a date node. Yeah, perfect. It will add it in between. So I'm going to select all these, delete, and save that. So, oh, actually no, I've deleted something that I didn't want to, or my things don't look the way I wanted it to do. I'm going to have to restore from the last version, restore that, go back, and I've got somewhat of the workflow that we had before, so that we're not losing everything on our version control. So let's see what else we've got. So we've got node panel, how to search and find nodes, node editor, set parameter credentials. We'll look at that when we go more deeper into each node. Workflow setting, renaming, tagging, and versioning we've done. Color code, green success, red error, yellow is running. So again, this is your executions. So if it's green, it means it's succeeded. Let's break it. So if I just add something in and don't give it the stuff that it needs and test that. Problem running the workflow. It should give me a red. There you go. So we've got an error. And then that will tell us why there's an error. So if you want to debug, you just debug in editor, click that, and it tells you. Look, we haven't got any date in here because we haven't given it anything, which is what the error is, but you get the red, yellow. If it was running, it'd be yellow, it just says in progress, and green if it was succeeded. And helpful shortcut key. So what I'll do is I'll put a cheat sheet link in. I'm not very good with shortcuts, to be honest. Never have been, but what I'll do is I'll put a cheat sheet. I'm sure n8n has one that I'll link in to the chat so you can see what shortcuts, if you're familiar with shortcuts or would like shortcuts to make it a little bit quicker. But for me, I'm more clicky. I've never been a shortcut person, mainly because I jumped from Windows to Mac and then Mac to Windows, and then by the time I've realized what shortcuts are what, I end up pressing Control or Command and it all goes out the window, so I just use my mouse faster. So day 4 we'll be making a workflow by the looks of it, and we will be sending a test email. So that will be credentials and node stuff, so that's exciting. If you like the content and you want me to continue, please subscribe. It helps me a lot, and hopefully you're getting some good material and learning material. I know it's very basic at the moment. It's very clicky, watch me do something and then you can do it. But this is about learning the basics from the ground up all the way through to getting advanced workflows in the end. Side note is that I do this full time. So if you are a business owner and you need some help with your n8n instances, or you need an n8n admin, please reach out to the email here or add a comment and I'll give you a message. Thank you guys, and thank you for watching.